Welcome to the Business Success Strategies with Adrian McLean. This is a 30-minute interview with successful business people who have been able to achieve amazing results with growing a business. Business Success Strategies is proudly sponsored by the Speakers Practice and AdrianMcLean.com, helping business owners with marketing and promotions with a specialty with public speaking. Enjoy today's Business Success Strategies interview.
Welcome to the Speakers Practice Business Success Strategies interview. Hi, I'm Adrian McLean. The Speakers Practice helps professionals with business building and promotional tools to get more clients. We're thrilled to have Yakov join us today. Yakov is the president of Linked Lead Enterprises, author of Disrupting LinkedIn, and a sought-after advisor to business owners worldwide on the topic of the way of getting more clients and referrals using LinkedIn. Today, our topic is using LinkedIn to attract your dream clients. Welcome, Yakov.
Hey, Adrian, good to be here.
Fantastic to have you with us. Yakov, before we get started, tell us a bit about your business.
Yeah, so we work with business owners worldwide on a new way of using LinkedIn to get clients and referrals. And what we found, Adrian, is a lot of business owners are on LinkedIn, but they're not quite tapping into its potential as a platform for building key business relationships. So we show them a new way of doing that that's systematic, predictable, and actually gets results.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. Well, we'll dive into the questions and see how we go. So, Yakov, when running a business, what are some of the challenges faced by business owners, and especially in using some online platforms?
Yeah, and there's so many of them, but specifically when people come to us and they're wanting to discover this new way of using LinkedIn, and the key challenges that they're facing are, number one, they have a very specific type of connection they want to make, whether it's a C-level executive, high-level influencer in an organization, or even a small business owner who's hard to reach. And what they find is it's difficult to reach these people. It's difficult to meet them at a networking event because most of these people just don't have the bandwidth for networking. They're getting hit up all the time. Their doors getting knocked on, their phones getting rung. People are trying to pitch them the next big thing and sell them something. They're getting bombarded by marketing messages on Facebook and online and Google. And it's a noisy world out there. And so what business owners are finding that it's harder and harder to cut through the noise and reach these types of, I call them A-listers, directly. And so what's fascinating about LinkedIn is when used effectively, you can reach those people directly on their mobile devices with a message that's authentic, that stands out. It gets them enthusiastic about finding out more about your business and the products and services that you're offering. Another key challenge, in addition to getting in front of the right person, is simply what I call the overwhelm effect, right? Because there's so many things somebody could be doing, as you probably know, to grow their business, to market, to get new clients. There are so many different social media, so much technology, so many places to be spending resources like time, money, and energy that it's overwhelming. And there's not enough time in the day. And most of the business owners we work with, and I'm sure the same is for you, are small business owners. They're not Coca-Cola. They don't have $1 billion a month to spend on marketing and advertising. They certainly don't have a large team, so they can't afford to be inefficient. So we need a way to streamline the results to build those key connections in marketing that actually works. The other key challenge that I commonly see is business owners go out there and they try marketing and advertising. By that, I mean they throw a lot of money at it. They put some attention into it, but they don't do it effectively. They're not systematic. They're not formulaic. They're not tracking the key metrics. They're not understanding how to get to the key outcome. And the result is a lot of time, money, and energy spent with having little to nothing to show for it. And the biggest challenge of all, I would say, that I see in clients and in business owners who come to our events and who work with us is a lot of business is still done from word of mouth, especially a service-based business that has some nuances, that has a lot of trust required. A lot of it still comes down to word of mouth. And so what happens with word of mouth oftentimes is 1 month, your business is going really good. You've got really good flow of leads and deals. And the next month you're looking around saying, where's that next client coming from? Where's that next referral? Where it comes and goes. And it's quite a roller coaster, actually. And the reason for that being is there's no predictable way to go out there and generate new business. And that's where this new way of using LinkedIn comes in. And the last key challenge that I want to mention, and this is a really important one, is the challenge of commoditization, where regardless of what type of business you're in, what type of marketplace you're wanting to serve, there are other people in the marketplace saying essentially the same thing and vying on price, vying on the best rate. And you want to become that market of one. You want to get past commoditization. You want to be seen as that authority and establish uniqueness. And a lot of business owners are struggling to stand in their uniqueness, express themselves authentically in a way that stands out while reaching their ideal clients or referral sources. And LinkedIn happens to be a great platform for doing that when used effectively.
Oh, well, it sounds like LinkedIn's the place to go for business owners and to leave the other platforms aside.
Yeah, and then now, yeah, there's some nuance in what you just said, but for the most part, what people have to understand is it's a different demographic, it's a different caliber of user on LinkedIn. The fact of the matter is there's 600 million plus users on LinkedIn worldwide, and the average household income is six figures, $115,000. That's an average household income of a LinkedIn user. There's certainly people who are worth considerably more than that, who are generating considerably more income. And it's much more of a professional platform, as you can imagine, than like a Facebook, where on Facebook, people are there to be entertained, to watch cat videos, or whatever fun things they're going to do on Facebook, versus LinkedIn, they're there to build real trusted relationships. They're there to grow. They're there to expand. They're there to grow their businesses. And it's a completely different context where you can establish yourself as that trusted advisor. And the other great thing about LinkedIn is the fastest growing demographic, age group wise by far, is millennials. So typically 25 and 35-year-olds is the fastest growing age group on LinkedIn. And for people in that age group have been so inundated by Facebook ads and marketing messages online and Instagram, where they just see that Facebook ad and say next, and they barely pay any attention, versus LinkedIn. It's a one-on-one type of relationship. It feels like connecting with that trusted advisor, and you're able to be very intentional in the way that you're seen and the way that you connect. And it's a way to build that relationship and able to do it very authentically. And when you have a system and a process in place to get consistent results without having to spend all day doing this.
Oh, well, that's a lot to take in, but that sounds fantastic. So you're really starting to answer our second question, which is, why is LinkedIn a valuable business tool?
Yeah, for all those different metrics that I mentioned, plus the trajectory, right? You and I were talking before we went live here about understanding different trends, understanding what's happening next on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And LinkedIn, a few years ago, was acquired by Microsoft for $26.2 billion. It was a big deal. It was in the news, a big acquisition. And Microsoft basically took LinkedIn and said, listen, you guys have this reputation as a professional platform. It's great. Now let's actually generate some revenue for the company and really turn this business into an asset. So what have they done? They've completely revamped the user interface. It looks different, feels different. It's an entirely different experience. And it's never been easier for people like us who are business owners, marketers, and sales professionals to be able to actually use LinkedIn for building those key relationships. It's become more mobile friendly. There's lots of new features coming out almost on a weekly basis on LinkedIn, and authentic content, putting content out there, putting the right messages out there that showcase uniqueness, that's getting rewarded more and more and more, because the way that LinkedIn generates revenue is, well, a couple different ways. There's advertising. So companies pay LinkedIn for advertising, and that's direct revenue, but also by premium accounts, where people like you and I invest in premium accounts on LinkedIn. It's another revenue stream. So they want people to spend more time on LinkedIn. They want it to be a better experience, and they want more of their users to advertise there, to post more content, to engage, to invest in premium accounts. So it creates a fascinating combination. The other great thing about this is the CEO of LinkedIn, Jeff Weiner, he's gone on record And this is after, in the last quarter alone, the user engagement was up by 33% in terms of the people actually spending time and engaging in the content. But he's gone on record saying that he wants to have 2.2 billion users, that's billion with a B, from
Yeah.
the 600 million something where they're at right now by the end of 2022. So even if he's half right, even if the user base just doubles, that's a lot of people all around the world to connect with, build relationships with, and to have some people to do business with who are coming onto LinkedIn in a much more powerful, in a much different context. And the other big trend that I'm watching personally right now that's big are LinkedIn business pages, right? Where, on Facebook, if you have a business page, unless you're paying to play, unless you're paying to advertise, you're usually not going to get too much exposure. Versus LinkedIn is how Facebook business pages used to be back in 2012, 2013. Because on LinkedIn, you can have 10 followers on your business page. And if I go and I like something on your business page or I comment, people in my network are going to see your business for free. It's going to get you free exposure based on the way the LinkedIn algorithm works. So it's a very different platform. There's a lot more opportunity there when used effectively. And LinkedIn is really encouraging that increase of engagement. That's the trajectory that they're on right now.
Yeah. So should we be creating our LinkedIn pages and make sure they're up to date, firstly? And the second question is, should we post from our LinkedIn page?
Yeah, and I want to clarify what you mean by page, because for everybody who's listening or watching, they're probably scratching their heads a little bit saying, well, I have a profile, but what do they mean by page? So a LinkedIn business page is a page you create that's either a company page, or if you're building your personal brand as a speaker, author, coach, for example, you can create what I call a celebrity page. It's a separate business page linked to your LinkedIn profile and be able to post that way. So every business owner, even a small business owner, should have a business page on LinkedIn. It's also great for online visibility. It's great for SEO. It's great to include that on your website as well. The other great thing about LinkedIn business page is, yes, posting content. Anything you're going to post to your personal page, it certainly doesn't hurt to post on your business page. Anything you're posting on your website, on other social media, certainly doesn't hurt to post it on your LinkedIn business page as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's very good. And just to clarify, LinkedIn seems to have a very strong SEO impact on raising awareness with Google searches, for instance. Is that true? And by being integrated with LinkedIn more, that will build that impact on the search.
Yeah, it's a great way to do it organically. It's also important to understand that when people Google your name, most of the time what comes up is going to be your LinkedIn profile. So it's important to make that LinkedIn profile count. You can have potential clients, potential decision makers who normally wouldn't even spend that much time on LinkedIn, but you get rest assured they will Google your name and your profile is going to come right up. So it's that saying, you only get one chance at a first impression. That's the value of the profile, and that's the value of LinkedIn's SEO. Well, because also LinkedIn, because they have so many users and so much content happening there on a daily basis, that also gives it an increased bandwidth for getting exposure on SEO as well. And certainly for a business owner, especially if you're just building your website or if you're starting a new blog, to embed it and to embed your LinkedIn profile into that can be very effective. Another way to boost that sort of exposure.
Oh, fantastic. Some great advice on activities on LinkedIn. Wonderful. So how can LinkedIn be used to attract dream clients?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. It comes down to very first understanding the journey that you want the dream client to experience, that you want them to go on, right? And that journey is oftentimes they may not know you exist yet, right? Let's face it, they may not know you exist. They may not know that they need what it is that you have to offer. They may not be waking up in the morning saying, oh, I need that. Okay, so it's understanding how can you take this person, how can you take this human being on that journey from not knowing, this lack of awareness, to decide, making the decision to take action and invest in doing business with you. Okay, and the best way to start to do this is to start to reverse engineer that process. Is to start to think back and take them from this outcome that you want to meeting them where they're at right now. Okay. And it starts off by understanding that you want to optimize for what they want. That's a really important term, optimizing for what they want. And the very first thing to do is to go out there and find that person. LinkedIn has several different functionalities for building a highly targeted list. It's something we cover in detail at our Discovery Day, because a lot of people will come to me and they'll say, you know what, my LinkedIn messages aren't getting responses. What am I doing wrong? And usually the answer is they're not talking with the right people. They're not talking. The who is a little bit off. It's not quite as precise as it can be. So getting the right who. So it starts with building your list. Okay, it starts with understanding who it is that you want to attract, and also defining that key outcome, that key action that you want them to take. The next piece is thinking about where they're at in the journey, thinking about where their level of awareness is, understanding that, and positioning yourself to play the part, positioning yourself to meet them where they're at, using your LinkedIn profile, and to address some of the key challenges, to address that conversation happening in their mind, or maybe it's not yet happening in their mind, but it should be happening in their mind, about your products or services. And to do that using your LinkedIn profile in a way that takes them through that journey, and also feels like that person gets them. And it also feels like an authentic type of connection. Okay. Now, once you've done that, you're ready to go out there and actually connect with these types of people. And when you connect, they receive a connection request from you. It's coming to them. They have a couple of options. They can either accept, they can decline, or they can do nothing. They can ignore. Okay. But it's the very first yes is getting them to respond and want to connect with you. Okay. Well, after they've connected, this is where optimizing for what they want really comes into play. It's figuring out how you could be posting content that's going to get their attention. It's going to get them to raise their hand and say if they're interested, or what you can say in the direct messages, that you can message them directly on LinkedIn, what questions you may be able to ask them, or what content you may be able to share in the direct messages that, again, are going to get them to raise their hand and express interest in finding out more about the product or service that you have to offer. Okay. And once that comes into play, the next step is transitioning that relationship into a conversation, whether it's phone, Zoom, having something else, whatever that next step is, which is the first action that you want that person to take. And that leads to building a relationship, which eventually becomes the sale or the referral or whatever happens in the case of your particular business.
Yeah, and that's a very important step, isn't it? That's where it takes the connection from online to offline.
Yep. Exactly. And that's so key, right? Because especially with these hard to reach type of individuals who are getting bombarded by marketing messages all the time, it's getting their attention, getting their interest first, then taking it offline to either phone or sometimes even meeting in person,
Yes.
and transitioning that relationship into a business deal.
Yes. Yeah. Fantastic. Okay. So, does the free version of LinkedIn have enough capability for business owners, or do we really need to be looking at the premium level?
When it comes to starting out, when it comes to laying the foundation, the free version has lots to offer. So if you're just starting to build momentum, if you're starting out, there's plenty you can do with the free version. It can be highly effective and start to move you in the direction that you want to go in. I personally have a premium account on LinkedIn. There's a couple of different types of premium accounts. The one that I would recommend for business owners is the Sales Navigator account. It's the most robust out of all the premium accounts. It works as a CRM, as a customer relationship management tool, and you can get really precise on finding that right who. But I want you to think about it like this, though. I want you to think of it as more of that cherry on top, right? It's like having a great ice cream sundae that you just want to dig into. It's got hot fudge, caramel, sprinkles, all the great things that are very, very healthy for you on that ice cream sundae. And on top of that ice cream sundae, you've got the little cherry, right? And that premium account, essentially what it is it's that cherry on top, okay? And so a lot of business owners make the mistake of buying a premium account and expecting it to suddenly start getting them results on LinkedIn, when the fact of the matter is it's the cherry on top, okay? And before getting that cherry on top, you want to have a good foundation in place, understand what your outcome is, understand what strategy you're going to implement, and then that premium account will just get you to that next level faster.
Right, okay. And what is the cherry on the top with LinkedIn?
It is. It's that Sales Navigator account.
Is it? So, but is it the reach? Does LinkedIn limit the number of connections I can see on the free version compared to the Sales Navigator version, or is it the detail that I can see on people's profiles?
Not quite. So what it limits is the number of searches you can run per
Right.
month. And it also limits the precision on the searches. There are about a dozen more criteria that come into play in the Sales Navigator search. And it also gives you the ability to save a search, which
Right.
is really powerful, because imagine you've built a list of 800 really great potential clients for you.
Yeah.
And now you can save that list and you can go out there and connect with that list and start the process and start filling the pipeline, this is what we'll call it here, using that list. Sales Navigator happens to be a great tool for doing that and for making it that much easier.
Okay, fantastic. All right. So uh, LinkedIn is developing the platform, and you've mentioned with Microsoft taking over ownership, they've got their approaches. Uh, are there any new things that we need to know about with LinkedIn that could help us with our searches and with posting, and the reach is really important. So improving the reach of our posts.
Yeah, improving the reach of posts is important. What's more important, though, is going out there, finding the right connections, the types of ideal clients or referral sources that you want to connect with, and figuring out a way to, through direct messaging, get them to raise their hand. You
Right.
could not post on LinkedIn at all and be highly, highly effective in using it as a revenue generator if you just figured out what the formula was for doing that when it comes to your ideal clients. Okay. Now, some of the biggest new features, we talked about LinkedIn business pages and how they're different. LinkedIn groups are also back on the rise as well. And there's some different, for some people, LinkedIn groups aren't really worth exploring. For others, they're a great way to start building a community. And that's going to be their quickest way to getting more clients from LinkedIn. And there's also different features like LinkedIn events that you and I talked about earlier that are now officially back.
Yeah.
And they can be really good features for the right events, for specific niches or industries. That's becoming a big trend as well. And the other thing that's I believe by the end of this year, everybody's gonna have it, is gonna be LinkedIn Live, being able to live stream from LinkedIn. And that will do a lot in terms of content and reach and visibility. There's gonna be a lot of benefit there too.
Right, fantastic. Wow, well, it's always developing and improving and helping business owners. That's wonderful.
Absolutely, yeah, and it just gets better and better. And there's still a lot of open, I call it open terrain on LinkedIn, because most business owners, they're there. They understand a little bit of the possibilities, but they're not using it in a systematic way that's actually getting results.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of functionality, isn't there, with the articles? The articles is another way of creating content on LinkedIn and uploading a video. There's so much you can do to get your message out there.
Yeah, there is. Articles they used to be a lot bigger than they are now, but they're certainly still available. They're really good for SEO. LinkedIn is really embracing that, and once the live videos come into play, they're going to even overtake the current type of videos. But there's lots of different ways to get the message out there. The mistake a lot of folks make is they get paralyzed by this fear of having to put out a perfect or very professional looking video, and they never do any sort of videos or content because of that, which is unfortunate. So the thing about that is just to get started, to put something out there. If you have one message in a video, a 1, 2, 3 minute video, it's more than enough to get started. It doesn't have to be professionally produced, and it's a great way to start getting exposure and being seen in a new way, because when people see us on video, they assume different credibility. They assume it's a different way for you and I to experience somebody than even reading something.
Yes, fantastic. Okay, well, Yakov, thank you so much. You've given us some really valuable ideas and approaches there. Now, you have an event coming up soon.
I do. It's going to be coming up in Melbourne, Australia on February 7th. I'm sure we can get the link in the show notes as well.
Yes.
And that's going to be we call it LinkedIn Marketing Machine Discovery Day. So we're going to cover, if you liked anything that you heard today, if you were intrigued by anything you heard today, we're going to be going into more detail during that one-day event. It's in person coming up in Melbourne, Australia. And the great thing about our live events is when you attend the live event, you can get some personalized coaching directly from me. We do hot seats right there. So we give go some practical examples of how to apply some of these strategies that I talked about is specifically in your business for moving the needle and getting more of your dream clients. That's something that we cover during the in-person event as well. So that's coming up here, in about a week and a half, week's time, LinkedIn Marketing Machine Discovery Day out in Melbourne.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks so much, Yakov, for your time. And it's great to hear your approach. And we look forward to your next coming event.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay.